Today I'd like to talk about the plants that I was trying to identify, and for a long time I couldn't identify. Usually when you see the plant you want to identify, you come home and you look at their books like this. I have lots of books, and each book has different flowers, and also the common name is also in the two books the common name is different, listed in different under different names, and so it's kind of a not an easy task, and it's common. Wildflowers you can identify very quickly because it's very showy and also easy to identify. But some of them it's somewhat difficult. And of course, in this year I became like trying to take a video of the wildflowers, and for such a long time I wasn't that much active in identifying the wildflowers, and but I came back this year 2021, and in the nearby nature trails I see lots of wildflowers that I never seen before. So trying to identify those, and at least three of those, it's I like to talk about it because it is interesting. First one is this. Interesting flowers here. I'd like to know what they are. This is maybe Fraser. I thought in the beginning it was orchids, but it's not orchids. It's the Fraser. Nice yellow-white flowers over the Okay, so this one has almost like a orchid like the looks to it. So without knowing anything, I thought, wow, that could be orchid because it's a leaves, like a monocot, right? Like a leaves of the grass type of thing, and it looks like orchid flowers. And then I realized, no, it's not orchids. I looked at it, and Colorado native or Colorado orchids, looked at it, and it doesn't. I couldn't find anything. And but it's kind of similar looking flowers called Frasera. And for a while I thought it was a Frasera, but it turns out it's Descama. Descama, this seems like a foothill Descama, is much taller, and I think now I'm convinced that it's foothill Descama. but the flowers are beautiful, and this camel, as you know, death means, it's very toxic. So you cannot touch, or you cannot never eat those things. But I think some of the people, the bulbs of the particular plant is like onion-like. So some people take it as a wild onion or something, and they eat and they die. So it's a very, very dangerous plant. It's called death camel. And second of all, I saw this particular plant. It's not that common in this particular nature trail, but by the trail, by the concrete paved trail, this particular plant was growing, like a single plant, and I didn't see anywhere else nearby there or anywhere else around this particular trail. And so, wow, this could be something, maybe ornamental plant, because it's beautiful. Leaves are variegated, and that's beautiful. And so I have been I took videos and everything, and finally I found. This is a plant I tried to identify. I already shoot the video of this, but it's a beautiful specimen here. It's variegated leaves at the top of the stems. It's opposite leaves here. Definitely I have to find out. This is called Snow on the Mountain. Its common name is Snow on the Mountain. But when I found that, Snow on the Mountain, as a gardener, as you remember, that there's a different ornamental, shade-loving snow on the mountains plants you can buy at the store. Yeah, but it's completely different from that. And indeed, this is snow on the mountains, the same common name, but completely different species. And I'm glad I found it now. But this particular single plant growing in this particular location, I didn't find anywhere else around that particular area there. So it's not that common as a weed, wildflower type of things. And thirdly, this particular one, I thought, wow, I never seen that before, and wow, it's like a tassel, tassel flower, and wow, it's, I came home and I looked at the, pages, and it's, wow, it looks like a tassel flower. But it's all tassel flower listed there is very nodding down like this, and but this is upright and very vigorous looking, So wow, for a long, long time I didn't know what that is, but now this I think it's a rabbit brush, and a kind of rabbit brush that it's not like a very commonly seen rabbit brush. Oh, just hold on. Okay, this is like a common rabbit brush here, as you can see. But the one I've tried to identify is this. It's growing like this, or it's a tassel flower. But it turns out, I think this is a rabbit brush, kind of rabbit brush. And I think it's a long flower rabbit brush, Chrysanthemums depressas, I think. But I'm not sure even today what it is. So those three the wildflowers this year, 2021, I thought it was kind of bothered me for a long time because I didn't know the names, I couldn't identify. But now I think I'm close to it, and so this is one of the things that blame on the books like this, and they list most of the common flowers, but they don't list. Oh, the other one more thing, and it's called scale cap. This is another one. It's so tiny blue flowers, and I try to see close by, and it's kind of that the flowers are tiny and small, but it's distinct blue and conspicuous enough to eyes goes there to look at it. And but for a while I couldn't find any of the books, scale caps or anything, and so some of the books list mostly popular, commonly seen flowers, but some of them are not that common, and it's very difficult to identify. So anyway, so identifying business is kind of adventure, I would say, especially when you take a photo and you come home and look at it and you can identify them as the pictures and the book, the picture of the book, exactly identifiable features there. But even now today, like a yellow flower, one of the things that I couldn't identify for a long time, that is Sculpin daisy. It's like a common yellow, like a coreopsis type of flowers, and it's hundreds of yellow flowers, wildflowers like that, and it's so difficult. And but definitely when you finally identify them, and some of the books also doesn't show the leaves; they show just the flowers, and so it's very difficult to identify. Flowers are very similar, especially these yellow composite flowers like that. And so if the leaves, they show the leaves a little bit more in the picture, you can identify them, and that's an easy way to do it. So the reader like me, or the books, all depend on the pictures, how accurately depicting the particular types or whatever. And but most of the picture book, identification books, are not that good in showing those typical features. And some of the this Weed of the West. This is a very good wild weed book. But even this one, lots of them are not listed. And also explanation is very good, but sometimes it's very, very misleading as well. And it's not complete either. So you end up is looking at the different books and different explanation to identify them. So I still make mistakes. So in the past video, I took a lot of wildflower videos, and when I was shooting, I was talking, this is that, and this is that, and but of course, and maybe 20-30% of them are wrong, and so that's the fun of and the difficulty of identifying the wildflowers. And if you next year, I kind of expand to the maybe grass. Grass is very, very difficult because it's very similar, right? Grass is very similar. But this year I noticed each one has a very typical looks to it, and it's very different from others. So I think that's going to be fun. But it's not as showy as the wildflowers. So, the feeling you get when you see the wildflowers, you get the kind of a very healing quality to it. And that's one of the reasons that I became interested in taking pictures of wildflowers. As early as, when I was a boy, I was fascinated with those wildflowers, which is beautiful, but the tiny, tiny flowers. But nonetheless beautiful, and as a matter of fact, I think it almost saved my life, because when I was suffering, when I was like 20 years old, lots of stress I was having, and but I go out in the spring in the field and walk along to look for those flowers, and I take pictures of it. And that particular activity almost opened my eyes, is that the life gives you more than that one you are suffering. So it's worthwhile to live in this earth to see. And of course, if you go traveling around the world, for example, you're going to do that. But traveling the world, bird watching the same way, you want to do it as much as possible, but time is so limited. So you don't. And of course, if you go to some locale, like for example, you want to go to the European Alps environment to see the alpine flowers there, in the Italian Alps or something. And of course, the locality is also different, but also season. You have to go whole year to see the old alpine flowers there blooming. If you go to July 5th, you go there and you see only one type of flowers, and so you miss the other flowers. So it's like it is kind of interesting but a difficult hobby to do the identification. And bird watching, you forget it because you need to have a tremendous this telephoto the camera to shoot them, and even your eyes. Very briefly, you can look at it, and but as you know, those species are not the infinity number of those things. Just a limited number of species. Birds very limited, and flowers very limited numbers of species there. So if you are persistent enough, you can identify them correctly. Insect is the same way. You see them, beautiful insects, especially mimicking insects, that kind of very fascinating to me. So that's going to be a little bit later that I will get into it. But those things are not infinite number. Okay, there's a limited number of the species. So if you're persistent enough, you can identify correctly. So that's my thoughts today. Thank you. Bye.